Good morning. It is Tuesday, the 1st of March. Good to be chatting with you again. I missed the little talk on Friday, but that was a day spent traveling through to Durban for family funeral. I'm struck in the readings. It's Proverbs 30 and Philippians 3, and pretty much the first half of each of those chapters. Encourage you to read them yourself. The writer in Proverbs, quoting or writing as if he is someone else, is asking a set of rhetorical questions, and those rhetorical questions are designed to focus us on the bigness and the greatness, the all-surpassing knowledge of who God actually is. And those rhetorical questions that he asks along these lines, he says, who has or can go to heaven and come back again and tell what has happened? Who can hold all the wind in the cup of your hands? Who can wrap up all the waters of the earth in your cloak, some kind of container, and you hold all that water together? Who even, and I'm now paraphrasing, who even vaguely understands any of this, let alone is able to do it? And those rhetorical questions are pointing us to the greatness and the largeness of God, because quite honestly, and obviously, this is what God can do. He can do all of these things. Can you? Can any human being do that? No. So therefore, God is so much greater. Let us come into his presence with humility. And then Paul in Philippians picks up a very similar theme. Paul is this incredibly astute and wise man, a remarkable person. But he started off as being someone who was diametrically violently, aggressively opposed to Christianity. And Paul is arguing with people at the time who like to think that their own human wisdom, as measured against their own understanding of that wisdom, it's like a child thinking, I'm terribly clever, but not comparing himself or herself to an adult. The child, with their very limited knowledge, thinks they understand everything and are quite convinced that they are perfect. We just laugh at that, and yet that's what we as adults do when it comes to religion and of course many aspects of life. And so Paul is saying rhetorically again, if you want to compare me to human wisdom, then actually I am a Hebrew of Hebrews, a Pharisee, a persecutor of the Christian religion, highly trained, incredibly astute and intelligent. Knowledge of the law, faultless. And yet he says, and this for me is so important, yet he says, all of this I count as nothing in the knowledge of Christ. Having come to know Christ, I realize that everything in my life, all that I thought was so clever and so good, really is nothing. I think it's Isaiah talks about the best of our good works is still in comparison to God like a dirty cloth. He's not saying our good works are useless, but he's just saying in comparison to Christ, it just does not hold any sway. And so I want to conclude and just say, beware if you think you know everything. If you think somehow you have this hotline to God, God has shared with you everything, and you now know everything. No, it seems to me that in our faith there is that element of, we could use the word mystery. There's an element of just humility, knowing that you do not understand everything. And in fact, maybe to be rather philosophical, we understand very little, if anything, into who God really is and all that God has planned for this life. So beware of yourself or others who purport themselves to being somehow terribly intelligent and very clever. They will tell you how to live your life, because even the writer of Proverbs and even Paul, unless these people think that they're much, much better than them, well, they can believe that. I'm not sure I would believe them, but beware of those who purport to know everything, and they'll tell you how to live your life and what to believe down to the nth degree. Have room for that element of surprise and mystery in our relationship with God, and yet striving always to learn more and to know more, to live our lives in a way that is righteous and holy and focused on God and loving of the people around us. Folks, that's our challenge for this week, especially as we move into Lent. Today is Shrove Tuesday, tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. Focus on God. He has done so much for us, and we probably don't even know the half of it. Folks, have a wonderful day. We'll chat again tomorrow. God bless.